Okay, so it's already 11, so let's wait for another couple of minutes. Let's see if anybody else can join. So, okay, I guess nobody is coming. I hope everyone hear me clearly. Okay, so let's start with the proceeding. Okay, so I'll first introduce myself. Like I'm Dr. Sujit. So I got Marie Curie in 2020. Yes, it's almost 3 years back. So suddenly Martin told me that if you can share your experience with the applicants who are applying in this group. So I agreed. And then so it's a very short notice. So in this short notice, try to cover most of the part. And I've gone through the project proposal format, what the Marie Curie website, and I've seen there are some changes. So 3 years back, it was a little bit different, and now it's been get modified a little bit. There are some new sections I'm also not familiar with, but still try to cover. So I'll try to give you the important points. You should be careful with your project proposal, because each person have their marks, and the evaluation criteria is very strict in this Marie Curie. And out of 100, you are to 100 for the individual. Second, yeah. So out of 100, you need to score almost 90 and above to qualify for this individual fellowship. But still, that is not the exactly minimum criteria. There are other scopes also. Maybe you can discuss with this project officer in like project manager or some host institution administrative team what are the other possibilities. But I'll give you the details of the evaluation criteria and how the marks can be how marks are distributed and how it will be evaluated. Okay, so I'll share the screen. I make a very basic presentation. Hope it will be useful for you. So I have seen this. So it's like a lot of applicants from the different parts of the world. So greetings to everyone. So depending on whichever party in the world you are, like good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So let's start. So I'll share the screen. Okay. So you can see the presentation, right? So is it like I think it's visible, everyone, all of you?
Yes, it is visible, but not in the presentation mode.
Yeah. So now it's in presentation mode, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. So welcome to the presentation, all the applicants. So I'll give you some basic tips or basic tips or like some or share my experience how to write each and every portion of Marie Curie proposal. So it's not easy to write. There are a lot of things to write in a single proposal. And before you start the writing, there are some technical parts. You need to gather information. So I think most of you already done this till now. Some of you maybe at the end of your writing, like at the end, or some of you already finished the writing, but there is always a chance of improvement. So, and try to polish it by reading it again and again. So it's not that once you finish the writing, you can submit it in the Marie Curie portal proposal, but if you improved it and if you find some error, you can resubmit it. And at the final version, it will take it as once you resubmit it, even up to the last state, the final version will be the exact version that Marie Curie will take into account, the Marie Curie website. So before writing, you need to gather information about the program. I think I hope already you got the information about this program. Select your area of research. I think you already done. Select your host institution, that you already done, and select your supervisor. I think that's not the question here. And select the topic with your supervisor. So these are the information you should collect it before writing the proposal, and these are the technical part you should you need to take care before starting your proposal. So now let's come to the main part of the proposal. So in the proposal there are two parts. Remember this B1 and B2. I think you already familiar with this forms. So B1 is most deal with the scientific part, and B2 is how your CV and what is the research infrastructure and so on and so forth. So I'll not talk about the part B2 form. I'll mostly I'll focus on the part B1, especially the impact and implementation portion, where most of the technical parts come. So start with this. Let's start. So the main agenda is you need to understand that what makes a good proposal, and for each proposal has their own way of evaluation criteria. So you need to understand how Marie Curie proposal actually evaluated and how to fill up the forms like part A and B. So these things you need to keep in mind. Okay, so one second. Now it's everyone. Okay. So in the Marie Curie proposal, there are three main sections. I think everyone already know this now by this time now, because it's already almost 2 months or more than 2 months over for this proposal writing period, and still 1 month is there. So the three part, they called it in excellence, impact, and the implementation. The excellence part, in my opinion, is the core of your research or core of your proposal, how you define your problem. The impact part would be how it will boost your career and how you can disseminate your result output through or to a target group of audiences. And then the implementation part, you have to tell that how you implement with month-wise work packages, how you move forward from one work packages to another work packages with month-wise, with some deliverables, and eventually you'll come up with or end up with some milestones. So that's all about the implementation. But this is not as simple as this, because the excellence part you have to write a lot of things, because if you see the proposal templates, there are a lot of subsection in the excellence board, and each subsection you have to be very specific. Like excellence part, I can see here there are 4 subsections, and impact part has 3 subsections, and the implementation part has the 2 subsections. So total 4, 3, 7, 9 subsections. And you need to keep in mind there are 10 pages, the restriction of the pages. So in my suggestion, to reserve 6 page or 5.5 to 6 page for the excellence part, 2 to 2.5 pages for the impact part, and last 2 pages for the implementation part. But still, it is very discipline dependent, like the project dependent. You can improvise by your own also, but it's my suggestion to distribute your page like this. Why I suggest this? Because of this selection criteria. Because excellence part weighted 50% of the total evaluated marks, and impact part has the 30% weight, and the implementation part has the 20%. But just keep in mind one thing, that you should not neglect any of the part. Even if the implementation part is the 20%, you have to be equally good as like excellence and impact. So what I find in, like, if some of you can, like some of you are like, I already talked with some of the candidates. So according to like their experience and what I get the collective data, that some of you maybe give more focus on the excellence, like try to make it a very good attractive proposal, but you are not giving importance to the implementation part. So little bit weak the sports implementation. So that can cost some marks, and you end up with losing marks with this Marie Curie proposal. So each and every person, whether it is a scientific person, whether it is a technical person, you have to be equally good. So this excellent impact and implementation, you have to write very carefully each and every person. And keep in mind this selection criteria also, that if you score less than 70%, so the next following years you cannot submit it. So while writing this proposal, try to be careful, because it's not that only that this year you can only write. If you pass this criteria, there is a chance of improvement next year also, so you can apply in the next year also. So try to be very careful, try to minimize the errors that can cost the marks from this evaluation criteria. So these are the like initial guidance, but this thing you should not think about for this particular time. I think you should be more focused on how to write the proposal for the timing, because there's not much time left, still like almost, I guess, 30 days time left to submit your final version. Okay, so now I'll discuss each and every person slowly, like excellence part, impact part, implementation part. But I'll be emphasize more on the impact and the implementation part, and I'll try to go through quickly on the excellence part, because excellence part, everyone whoever writing a project, you will be expert on your project. So this part you will know it much better, but I only give you some tips how to write those portions and how to improve those portions. So in the excellence part, so excellence part, like if you see it, excellence part, initially there are two parts, like how you write the introduction objectives, the initial part, and how you connect your this introduction objective with the current state of art. So what to write here? So I suggest you here, you should write, or you should introduce the problem you'll solve. Very clearly you have to write the what is the problem you're going to solve through this Marie Curie project. And here language should be very concise, clear, and understandable, because this is the very beginning of your project. Just keep in mind, because a reviewer will read this portion first, so it will create an impression in his mind. So if you are very good and very clear with the message, what problem you're going to solve, so he will be more interested to write the next part, and this will be connected to your state of art. So in the state of art, what you'll see, what is the relevant research article for my research questions, whether you cited it or not, because reviewer will see it, and why my project is relevant to this discussion. Why you project? So like what I want to say is that this part you should demonstrate to reviewer that you know how your research questions is like positioned among the relevant literature. And if you see in literature, there are some literature have some contrary statement. So if in your proposed framework or your proposed project can solve those debates, so this will be the part of the state of art. So you have to be a little bit smart here. You have to be a little bit, I can say, go through literature and do a literature survey very thoroughly and try to come up with good literature that is relevant to your proposal and that can solve, or you can propose here how you can go beyond your state of art, current state of art. So that is the first two part. It's my suggestion how to write it, but still it's you can improvise, and everyone has their own way of thinking how to write but this is the kind of standard way of writing this initial two part, because what I think, one reviewer will see the first two part, and if he find it very interesting, he will very keen to see your next portions. So try to be very careful while beginning of your proposal, but this is the very beginning of your proposal. So once you write this two portion, here comes the next portion, like soundness of the proposed methodology. So what should here you write here? So I suggest here write the methodological basis of each objectives. That means here you can divide the exact work packages. So like scientific work packages, like work packages 1, work packages 2, or let's say you divide in your work methodology, whatever your hypothesis, whatever you're proposing, the main methods, what you're going to develop, or the main concepts or main models, you can divide it into work packages here. And I strongly suggest here to give a good diagram or good schematic or good figures, because sometimes what the figures can tell you the exact story more clearly rather than the words. So a reviewer can get a glimpse what you're going to solve through the figure. So this methodological section, end of this methodological section, you can give a very good figure or schematic. So depending on which disciplines you are applying, and you while writing this methodology, you also need to keep in mind that how your methodology benefits from different disciplines. So nowadays, like in higher science, if you go to the more and more higher, so everything is like interdisciplinary. So you need to at least write some sentence here, like how your methodology or your concepts, your models, whatever you are writing, it benefits from different disciplines of science. So you are engaging different disciplines of science. So now that's why you can cover the interdisciplinary aspects. Once you're done with this methodological section, you need to write, that is I think little bit new, like for you, this research data management and open science practice. So what it is, this one I think that you have to write that how you make the data accessible for the a particular target group of audiences, like this quality of open science practices. It's like here what you can write, or like I suggest you, like which format your data will be acquired. So like if you came in like some material science, you want to build some materials and you want to characterize those materials. Let's say this example. So which formats your data will be there. So either it can be like, for example, it can be in image format, it can be in videos like AVI, MP4, it can be TXT, it can be ASCII format, or OPG format, or some MX files, MX Word files, or maybe some Word Notepad file. Which formats your data will be available, and how you making those data accessible, and your data availability and accessibility. Like you can this you can write here like this you can exactly give a particular DOI number, like digital objective identify number, to a particular set of data and making that accessible to the public. So these are the kind of things you need to write, but I am not expert on this, but there is a link here I can share you after this presentation. Maybe these links can be helpful to write this particular portion of this, how to manage this or how to write this open science practices or data management plan. And here the third portion is the quality of supervision, training, and the two-way transfer of knowledge between the researcher and the host. So here, I think first you have to write the qualification experience of the supervisors. I think everyone have it now, I guess. And what is the role of supervisor and the mode of supervision? You need to write it point wise, maybe make a bullet points, and need to be very specific. So this is kind of technical things, and those information you can get it easily, but you have to write it well. And regarding this training is like one of the technical part, like training of the fellow. So this is, just keep in mind, this is one of the important thing, because this training person can convince the reviewer that your host institution is ideal for your Marie Curie proposal, or to carry out your Marie Curie research project. So what kind of trainings you will get it in the host institution, and it's very important. So like you should list here the knowledge that will be expanded, and how you supervisor and host will do that. So remember that this is the very fundamental part of your proposal. So I just make a list what kind of training a host institution or supervisor can provide you throughout this Marie Curie tenure. You can make those things as a bullet point and write like sentences, good sentences in detail. Like, so this training, it can be scientific aspects, can be a management aspect, or can be an organizational aspect. So you have to write carefully how the supervisor and the research team helps to develop this skill through this training. So so what kind of trainings, like I can suggest you can learn new in your networking area, not only in academia and outside academia also. So these are the things you can list, you can write it in your in the training section. And the two-way transfer of knowledge, what I think it's like based on your past experience, past expertise, how you can what are the new expertise you'll gain, how you deliver to the colleagues or target group of audience or host institution. So what are the knowledge will be transferred, that will be from you to the host institution, and what are the knowledge you'll get it from the host institution to you through this training. Thus you have to write like two-way transfer of knowledge between the researcher and the researcher and the host. So one thing you have to remember, that this information on your proposal should be very detailed, very detailed. So write exact titles, topics, and target group size, and the which month of the seminar you are looking for, you are suggesting. So or I can say like I am giving you or I'm sharing my experience. So that is also one kind of transfer of knowledge, like you can see. So you can write this example also, like to schedule a workshop in which some group of students, PhD students, and to writing MSc proposal. So that is also, it's a transfer of knowledge to the host. So you can write it down, that is also. So you have to think what are the way that you can transfer knowledge to the host, and what are the way you can get knowledge from the host. So yeah, and this is the last portion, like quality and appropriateness of the researcher professional experience, competences and skills. So what does it mean? What I think here that you have to highlight, you need to summarize your CV here. That like highlight your skills, experience, and accomplishment. So if you supervise some students, mentioned. If you part of some workshop or organizing committee, mention here. And I tried I like try to cover all area wherever you are unique. Like, so highlight your uniqueness. Don't be shy here, because reviewer will see that whether you have this capability to be an independent researcher or not. So try to write it very smartly here, like or like in one words, just summarize your CV here. So that's all for the excellence part. Let's move to the next part, this impact part. So impact part, so this excellence part is like a little bit of mixture of scientific and technical part. Now the impact part is like, I can say that how it will impact your career. So first here, the first section, you have to describe how your host institution or your supervisor will expand your skills and help you to become a tenure track position, whether in academia or outside academia. How this fellowship will help to boost your career. So be very specific and try to give a detailed career perspective. Like I'll give you example. Like, let's say you can exactly mention here or write here that that in your host institution, the supervisor will organize some webinars or some like seminar like that, or offer you some course about this career development plan. Like every institution have some courses like CDC courses, and the supervisor can help you to get this course like CDC course, or can be part of the CDC course during this tenure. So this can boost your career. So you can write that, explain why, like how your host is the best place, or why your host institution is the best place for the training. Like you can mention a specific course about career development, what is available in your host institution here. So that is the first part. And the second part, well, like this is another important part, and this is important part, and like you have to write it very carefully, in the sense like I strongly recommend you or suggest you, like once you done with this 2.1, like in the career perspective, once you have to disseminate your result to the audiences. So what type of audiences you are looking for, and where you are looking for to disseminate your result. So dissemination is the like a very important criteria for any proposal. So I strongly suggest here to make a table. Don't just put a bullet points. Make a table, and in which month you are planning to disseminate your result. Try to put it here. So I just got it in online. This is one of the successful Marie Curie proposal. I just got it online and I just copied it from there. So, it's available in, like, I think some websites. So I liked it, and like you can exactly prepare this kind of tables, where you can exactly mention what is your strategy for dissemination, and what are the venues you're looking for the dissemination, and what are the target groups, and which month. So dissemination can be scientific seminars. Dissemination can be the publication of the papers. But when you're writing this publication of papers, try to exactly mention which journal you are looking for. At least mention the publishers. If it is not the journal, like whether you are targeting Wiley or ACS or APS or like Springer or some Nature group. So exactly mention which journal you're looking for or which publishing group you're looking for. So dissemination can be in the form of book chapter or some online course lectures and like webinars. It can be conferences, it can be websites, it can be newsletter or social media, or at the end like some random event like meet me tonight or talk sharing in final findings. So these are all categorized as a dissemination. So you can take it as a template, and write your own way to this dissemination. So yeah, so this is all about the dissemination, and the third part is like is how it will impact, how your uh, impact the science, society, or economy. So this part was not there while I was writing, but I just see that this part is included, and I can give you some tips how to write. So according to me, the scientific part should be right, like how it impact the scientific part, that how your research will be beneficial to your colleagues or your host institution, and how it will advance, how to beyond the state of art. That would be scientific impact, and the social impact would be like how many people will be impacted by your research, and how would their life will be better, so that they can thank, like, thanks to your project, their life is getting better or will be getting better. So this will be the social impact. And the economic impact, I'm not expert of this, but I strongly suggest to come up with some exact numbers. Like example, like if you try to making some product, and that is like a cost effective product. So if you use it in industry, how it will like reduce the cost in terms of production of some electronics devices or something. So better to go some website, get some EU data, and EU data exact how this uh, like how the industry is uh, uh, worth to producing some specific devices, and how your project is gonna change this perspective or change this economic impact, like economy a little bit, but don't write it vaguely. Exactly mention some data that is available in the websites or somewhere you can find it. So exact data would be always good. So that's all for this impact portion. And another thing I forget, this exploitation results. There are some exploitation results, how you exploit. So let's say if your project lead to some patents or startups, or can be otherwise exploited industry, that will create some economic impact. So that will be the exploitation of your result. So you can write it like in detail, like how it will be useful to create any patent, startups, or some industry perspective. And not only industry, even in the, like, if you develop some instruments, and how it will be even beneficial for the academia or some models. So that is also you can write it in the exploitation results. So that's all for the impact part. Now let's move to the implementation part. So implementation part, there are I think two parts. The first is the risk management and this Gantt chart. So for me, I personally believe this is one of the difficult part to write in Marie Curie proposal, and it creates an impression how you prepare the Gantt chart. Gantt chart means how your work packages, or like how you're moving from one task to another one through work packages, and with month wise. That means, like, I just copied this one, but I'll explain it. So I strongly suggest you, like, to prepare this Gantt chart. I strongly suggest that like describe, like you each activity planned on your proposal as a task or the work packages, and add, maybe you can divide your whole Marie Curie as a, like, 8 work packages, and add 3 or 4 deliverables under this each work packages and one milestone per work packages. That's how you can prepare your Gantt chart. I think 6 to 8 work packages is a good number for the work packages. And writing this, once you write this, always keep in mind this first thing will be the management activities, but because how you manage those things once you come here. So the desk analysis will be the initial part. Like in the desk, there are a lot of management while you came here, and while throughout this Marie Curie proposal, a lot of things you have to manage technically. Like you have to time to time you have to give feedback, time to time you have to write the output, and so that's all like how you manage. So this management activities or the bureaucracy, I can say, that will be the desk analysis, and the last portion should be covered as the dissemination. So, and in between will be your main research, like core of your research, how you divide your work packages. So here, this is not from the scientific background, but I found it very useful, this Gantt chart. So here you can see, like, he divided into 6 work packages, and the first part he put is the desk analysis, or like management activities. You can put it as a management activities or bureaucracy, and the last part is the, like, for him, like when he started with this one second. So like these 6, I think these all are the like dissemination activities what's he right. So these 2 parts, it's a kind of must, you have to put it, and yeah, at the end you have to submit the final report. So that is also one of the deliverables. Submit the final report of this Marie Curie proposal, and in between all these things will be related to your project. So it will vary discipline to discipline, project to project. So yeah, so okay, so that's all for this how to write the Gantt chart. And the next portion of this implementation, I think that is very standard for most of the EU project. And here I think most of the information you can get it online, or you can ask the exact respective person here to give you the organization details. Like be precise with the numbers, like how many students, how many projects on, ranking, rewards, and all these things. Write it clearly and get help from the institutional administrative team and write this portion. So that's all for this Marie Curie proposal. But before like end this seminar, I have to give you some tips. Like first, I strongly suggest you go through the Marie Curie proposal template, because each template and explained it very clearly what answer, or like which question you need to, they asked which question or which answer you have to write for each particular portion. So write this project proposal template again and again, and answer the exact question, and answer the exact question that is asked there. Don't overwrite it. Be specific, and make a good, clear, understandable figures. That is very important thing. If you have the scope to make a figure, please make the figure and make it a very good figure, like make it clear, that can convey the message. And at the end, try to make your all proposal visually appealing. That means in some portion you can make, like if you find it like some portion is very important for the, and you can make those particular portion in bold and italics, and like you can make appealing line spacing, and try to use the bullet points frequently, or in text numbering frequently. So that makes, or that will like ease the life of the reviewer, and he will understand your project more clearly. So these things just keep in mind before final submission of your proposal. There are still 1 month left, so you have now, I think it's enough time to improvise your project or improve your project, and even start writing your project. This is enough time. So by this, I will end the seminar, and I wish all of you all the best for this project submission. So now, if you have any question, you can ask me. I'll try to answer. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for attending. Yeah, if you have any question, you can ask. Maybe I can share some links what is available in this presentation with you. It may be helpful for you in some point of your proposal. So Alexandra, I think they don't have any question. If you have anything to say, you can say to them.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so by this, then I can like close this, I guess, and I wish all the best, all of the candidates again. Okay, so even if you have some question later on, you can message me or email me. But I'm not sure how I can, like, if you have so many emails, and so how I can like give feedback to each and everyone individually. But I'll try to. So if you at some point, if you find some difficulty in writing some portions, you can definitely reach me via email. So I think you have my email ID now. So you're welcome to write me an email. I'll try to give my feedback. Try to write my feedback there. So yeah. So thank you very much again. So okay. So bye.
Thank you. Bye.